this knowledge is not only concerned for 6 million Tibetan people, but also I think all the Buddhist world. I think this preservation, this knowledge is really relevant. And then language. All these sort of sophisticated Buddhist philosophy, logic, Tibetan language is now, I think, best language to describe these things. Now, Sanskrit, that language. The Hindi, not yet developed that on this field. The English, of course, no hope. And as well as German and French, I think you have to make new because of the vocabulary, otherwise it's difficult. And Chinese, of course, even before Buddhism reached Tibet, China already Buddhism flourished. But this philosophical field, I think the Tibetan, word, Tibetan language is much more sort of precise. Because Tibetan language itself, you see, while translation, because of that, while doing translation, the new vocabulary is created. So therefore, the Tibetan translation, very close to the original Sanskrit word, meaning of the word, very close. So therefore, I think the preservation of Tibetan Buddhist knowledge is, I think, interest for entire Buddhist world. And then also, nowadays, you say, I make a distinction. The content of about 300 volumes of Ganjula and Enclave. Content, we can divide 3 parts. Number 1, science, atomic, or these things. Although I think modern scientists, their finding is much more authentic, reliable, wonderful. But the basics of concept, the particles mentioned. So, and then mainly psychology, the knowledge about mind, about emotion. Then also method, how to tackle our emotion. These should not consider as a part of Buddhism, but should consider academic subject. So that's one part. Second part, Buddhist philosophy. Like the Four Noble Truths concept is directly linked with Buddhism. But other sort of philosophical views, such as True Truth, Sanskrit, Japanese.
The True Truths are some different Satya and Paramahata Satya in Sanskrit.
So these True Truth. Yes. Now quantum physics also seeking the reality. Nothing can be found. So, according to quantum physics, they already sort of concluded the external thing, nothing objectively exists. So then they, say, observers of view is only the observers of views there. So now here, I think it seems to me, quantum physics, as far as external thing is concerned, quantum physics already concluded nothing objectively exists. Now the observer side, now the question of Atma and Anatma, independent self or not. So Buddhist concept, no independent self. So therefore, one German scientist, specialist about the brain, one occasion, I was meeting with scientists. He drew one sort of human brain. And he mentioned the working brain, the livre work brain. You see, fully sort of cooperation there, interdependent that way. No place of central authority. So then he just half joke, I think, he mentioned Buddhist concept, no independent self. It's very much so similar that the concept of Atma, concept of independent soul, then there must be some central area which will give authority to remaining brain. He mentioned that. And anyway, so I really feel the quantum physics wonderful. Now I think Buddhist philosophy, external things also, you see, if you investigate, you cannot find. Similarly, observer also, if you investigate, you cannot find. So everything, shunya nature, shunya dharma. So the Panchaparamita Sutra, Shilaya, the Heart Sutra, you see, at the beginning you mentioned, form is empty, right? Emptiness is form. Form and I think the emptiness of the form is very much emotional.
The same essence.
Yes.
The form and its emptiness are really the same essence.
Form is basis of emptiness form. Without a base, emptiness also is nothing. So the very reason why these things are empty, is these existence interdependent due to other factor exist to come. So there is no independent existence. So patitsamupad, this word, patitsamupad, interdependent. So I really see, some occasion I express, I really wondered those genuine quantum physicists who not only intellectually some sort of understanding, but truly believe that maybe there are some emotional level, maybe some differences. That's I'm wondering to investigate. I express to some my friend. Because in Buddhist context, typical philosophy context, particularly the Nagarjuna's text, clearly mentioned all these negative emotions, such as anger, attachment, all these very much based on Khas.
The influence based on inappropriate thinking.
So that developed on the basis of feeling, grasping things objectively exist. Once you understand nothing objectively exists, then the very basis of this exaggeration weaker. So anger's attachment very much based on exaggeration. That's another, my sort of friend once, American scientist. His name was Aaron Beck. When I first met him, he's already his age 84. Since I really admire that person, so I think 2 years ago, I went in his sort of compartment. Then his age already 96 or 7, like that. So he, not a religious-minded person, of course not Buddhist. So he, I think several decades in treating the person who mentally some sort of disturbed, mainly anger. Then you see he found when anger developed, the object which they which they feel are angry, that object appears very negative. Then he told me that 90% of that negativeness is mental projection. This is exactly Nagarjuna stated. So Buddhists, you see, use that philosophy as combat on destructive emotion. Destructive emotion such as infinite love, compassion, these things not based on ignorance, wrong view. By nature, all this negative emotion based on wrong view. So understanding about ultimate reality is antidote of this wrong view. As much as I mentioned earlier, you see, as a student of Master Nagarjuna, according to my own experience, now I develop full conviction of meditating on shunyata. It's really immense help to reduce anger and attachment. Nowadays, almost none anger, attachment, because, of course, practice of altruism also some effect, but real effect come from understanding about the ultimate reality. That's emptiness, shunyata. So I feel preservation of these Tibetan understanding about Buddhism, particularly Naganta philosophy, is something very useful. So therefore, this philosophy, some philosophy directly linked with Buddhism, that's for Buddhist. But some should consider as an academic subject. So this part, I think we have potential to serve humanity in order to reduce this too much anger, too much sorrow, because biased view is causes of conflict, causes of violence, not as a religion, but simply the psychological sort of system like that. So that's why third commitment, preservation of Tibetan, because of the knowledge about Buddhism. So sometimes I was jokingly telling people, many Tibetan, last year, sometime in America, when I met some Tibetans, I told them, and previously we have a sort of had name of Lamaism. Now, many sort of people who really, because of the pain, because of the attention, now people not saying Tibetan Buddhism is Lamaism no longer. In Japan also I noticed now many Japanese sort of Buddhist scholars now very rare to use the word of Lamaism. Tibetan tradition is truly non-Indian tradition. So I expressed this into Tibetan. And now, let's say after a few decades, let's say the impression Tibetan Buddhism is not authentic Buddhism, but everything mixture. So Lamaism. So now that hat already sort of removed, and now new hat, authentic Nalanda tradition. And then I add all these item. I told this Tibetan, I always talk in Nalanda tradition, Nalanda tradition, Nalanda tradition. So I think eventually you see people now realize Tibetan Buddhist tradition is quite authentic, very scientific, like that. So while I sort of mentioning about my three commitments, I'm also sort of explaining about something about the human value in order to develop happy humanity, peaceful sanctuary, and second element, promotion of its harmony. I think in order to genuine sort of harmony, I think it is important to know the different traditions. Like Baba Sheikh, one of Nagarjuna's student, you see, he wrote one text about the mathematical philosophy, and then
Also commentary.
there's a very, very detailed sort of explanation, all different school of thought at that time. Very detailed sort of discussed, mentioned, and so on. Because of that. Oh yes, then mistake.
The power of Vivek's writings.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. So it is worthwhile as a 81-year-old person's mind, sometimes a name, sometimes a mistake. So the younger person, only his color of hair looks very old. So grateful for your correction. Thank you. So therefore, so I think the comparative study of these different traditions, that brings mutual respect. So here, I often used to tell you, concept of one religion, one truth, and concept of several truth, several religion. Two things looks contradiction, but no contradiction, not contradictory. Individual case, yes, one truth, one religion. So that helps to keep single-pointed faith towards one's own tradition. But in terms of humanity, in terms of group of people, then several truths, several religion, whether you like it or not, already there. So in terms of several people, the concept of several truths, several religion is very relevant. So I carry that sort of view. I respect all major religious tradition. So since 1975, I start one practice, a pilgrimage to different temples or different holy places. And when I sort of pilgrimage to different sort of holy places with holy hat, and when I go to a mosque, Muslim hat, and I and synagogue, the Jewish hat. That's very good. And then the Khas, Gurdwara, the Sikhs also the temple. I often remember one occasion I visited as a pilgrimage to different sort of holy places. Then the last, already a little tired, so the Gurdwara. So they, as usual, they give us prasad on street. Very delicious. I feel a little sort of tiredness and a little hungry, so prasad, not only just a sacred prasad, but also very good, give me more energy, like that. So since 75, I start that practice. With this sort of practice, I also have the opportunity, the pilgrimage to Khas, Jerusalem, the Wailing Wall, with the Jewish friend, and then one ancient, the Syrian Christian church. I went there. Then the rock, the sacred rock, I think some special experience at that place. So like that, since then, whenever I have the opportunity, pay my respect and faith towards the Buddhist tradition, I always practice that. It is quite useful. So now, how many times? Still? Oh. Should what order? Then another 30 minutes. Now I would like to take some questions.
Okay.
And the written question, and also I also would like to take directly some microphone should make it available.
Does anybody want to ask a direct question?
Okay. First, written question.
Your Holiness, there is so much cruelty and violence in the world. How can we maintain faith in God, seeing the things we do today?
Is God, according to theistic religion, God, creator, infinite love. So all these negative things in the name of religion is our own creation. So I often used to tell people, when we face some sort of violence or these sort of crisis, pray to God, pray to Buddha is not right way. If we have opportunity to see Buddha or Jesus Christ or Muhammad, we ask, oh, please bring peace on this planet. I think they may answer, who created violence? We, not God. So the people of the creator of these violence have the responsibility, have to solve by those by themselves. So therefore, I think according to theistic religion, God infinite love. God creates external world and internal world, and the internal so that human being or sentient beings. Then I think God creates all sentient beings in deep heart, the seed of compassion, and particularly social element. And furthermore, human beings, as I mentioned earlier, the basic nature of human being is compassion. That's a creation of the infinite love. So wonderful. So then I think God has given us free will. So we use free will a little bit wrong way. So if we too much use wrong way free will, then God may feel regret. So we should be genuine follower of God. God, according to Christianity, and those of the theistic religion, this very life created by God, no previous life. So this is very powerful. This very life created by God. So naturally, that sort of view brings feeling of intimacy with God. So more closeness feeling with God, more willingness to follow God's path. So therefore, I think basic human nature is very positive, as I mentioned earlier, compassionate. Now, So that's our responsibility. And meantime, very good God, very good. Then non-theistic, according to non-theistic religion, and all this, according to law of causality, we create negative causes, mainly with negative emotion. So then the result is always destructive. Next question?
Can you explain abundance?
Then I think how Job. One time, one of my great friend, very close friend, is a very sort of faithful, religious-minded. That person asked me, the whole world created by God. Then among his creation, some mischievous people there. Why God creates that? He asked me. Then I have there's no other solution answer. And how to Job, how seriously I told him, since God created heaven and hell, so there must be someone who go to heaven. Otherwise, there's no purpose, no use to create heaven.
Can you explain abundance? And can you explain abundance? And do different dimensions exist? Do different dimensions exist?
Correct. But what's the main question? Main point?
There are two questions actually. What is abundance?
What is the exact meaning? I don't know.
Do different dimensions exist?
I think maybe some connection. One of my great friend, writer, he also wrote some books. I have so great respect. Very close friend. So one occasion he asked me, your mind very scientific minded. At the same time, you also accept or believe the oracles. He found this is contradiction. Then I told him, even within our sort of ordinary sensorial sort of level, right? Sensorial sort of experience. He said, there are thousands of different species of sentient beings. And sometimes you see new species also come. Some old species disappear. Then there are some indication. This is some mysterious sort of sentient being. We cannot see, we cannot touch. But it's indication there. So I told him, there are different forms of life. Somehow we can see, eyes or the ordinary organs can see, can hear. Some level, ordinary organs we cannot touch, cannot see. But sometimes in dream state, more subtle level of consciousness. Sometimes we can feel some indication. Sometimes you see, some of my friends also you see, when they firstly reach Dharamsala, they told me they already saw there that sort of scenery way, the landscape. So then, when I sort of asked a further question, then he also said, oh, they are dreaming. Few years ago, in their dream, the exact landscape. So these are so far it's a scientifically cannot explain. So some mysterious things there. And then some sort of knowledge sometimes. Oh, my tutor, Rinpoche, their tutor. You see, some questions I asked, you see, and his answer, at the beginning seems to see wrong answer, but then time passes, his answer becomes very correct. So later one occasion I asked him, oh, it seems you have some sort of the ability to know future. He doesn't deny. He answered me, oh, occasionally that kind of experiences happen. So my dear teacher never didn't lie. And actually for the factor, I noticed, you see, he sees something. We ordinarily use a cannot guess, but he sees that. So like that. So mysterious things there. Then I think the person who passed away still body remain very fresh. Next 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4, 5 weeks. Now some scientists, you see, begin to showing interest. So we also now some project to investigate such case. The brain dead. As soon as blood circulation stops, the brain dead. But the physical still remain very fresh. So these things are mysterious things. So I think the genuine scientists, you see, their mental attitude is more open. They do not sort of stay because of that. Well, not biased. So therefore, still, you see, there is room to investigate so different fields, so different lives. Right. Next question.
How can you encourage the students in schools to be more compassionate?
Now some my friends already sort of say committing, already determined, you see, through teaching, through explanation to young children, students about basic human value, that also universal value, compassion, these things. So not based on religious belief, but based on scientific finding and our common experience and common sense. So actually, I often, you see, have the feeling, and accordingly I express many occasions, the existing our education system is very much oriented about material value. So people who come through that kind of education is automatically, you see, more oriented about external sort of values, like that. So the existing education system is not adequate in order to create a happy person, only external thing. Then there are no moral principles, just getting money or power as much as possible, and no question of ethics. So that's why many places there's corruption. I think a serious matter. China, India, and also no matter how sort of good system, for example, socialist sort of socialist system, wonderful. But ultimately depend on individuals' moral principle. Look, China, socialist country, they carry genuine principle about socialism. Then this huge gap should go never develop. Cannot. But then people, individual, lack of moral principle, and ultimately lack of compassionate sort of feeling, then is corrupt. No matter how good system, eventually, you see, just become just world like that. And then India also, I think, India is with modern education. I think British introduced wonderful. Now India's technology, all this highly now, so developing, still developing, wonderful. But moral standard, sometimes you see, a little bit sort of, I think, due to negligence. So sometimes you see, in this country, I think every family, I think, morning, some puja in front of Ganesh or Saraswati or some other gods and goddesses, some incense, some sort of flowers, and they pray. But their daily life, not much concerned about corruption. So it seems to me they pray to God, oh, my corrupted life must be successful. So that's, I think, a big contradiction. The other society, no religion. Religion is opium, poison. Then only mitigating and corruption, understanding. Here, many people really talking karma and talking deeper value, and then corruption. Then surprise. But I think due to lack of education about value of inner moral principle. Moral principle entirely dependent on compassionate talk like that. Because people 좋을 거예요. But what's the question? Main point.
Maybe we can take some direct questions.
Yes.
From people.
Main point is question.
The main point was how can you make children more compassionate?
Oh, so education. Now already, I really very much happy. Some organization, some individuals now really working in that direction. This morning also I met a few groups. They totally dedicated, and also yesterday. So I very much was impressed, and I always is telling these people, those who committed, themselves to do something. I usually tell them, I have this brain and have some lot of visions, advanced, but no hand, just talk, just express. Cannot cannot move much, only two hands. So I need more hand. So I'm telling these people, these people, I consider my additional hand. So idea come from one person, then movement almost, I think, 15 years. As I mentioned earlier, the 300 volumes Buddhist text, from that divided 3 parts. First part, second part, as an academic subject. So we already compiled. So aiming, these should be also included in academic education, as a secular academic education field. So now, just this morning, we seriously discussed with Xxi Dharma,
Dada Institute of Social Sciences and Research.
And also some university in America also is paying some attention. Now, for example, in America, at least I think 2 cities, as far as I know, with the name City of Kindness, City of Compassion. So accordingly, they carry some sort of more activities regarding kindness and compassion. As a result, within the city, the students become much more peaceful, more compassionate. So therefore, this education really makes differences. So our existing education oriented about matter, about material value. So then I think we completely neglected about our inner value. So you see, we totally rely on sensorial experience or consciousness. So we are not also educated knowledge about mental system. So the anger, attachment, these come with main mind, not sensorial consciousness. Sensorial consciousness is just medium, the door receiving information. Then real sort of feeling, we call sixth mind, the mental level. So in order to tackle that, we have to sort of more knowledge about the whole system of mind or emotion. So usually I will tell you, in our education, the hygiene of physical, they are already. Now, why not? We should include hygiene of emotion. That's something important. So we are working, and many people in this country really showing interest, and not only interest, but commitment already there. So I think next year, I think these organizations, they already sort of carry experiment in their own concerns of school or student. So already some positive result coming. So I think next year we will finalize some of these things. Yes.
Maybe we can have some direct questions.
Yes. Welcome.
Your Holiness, thank you very much for this splendid discourse. And from the very beginning, releasing the book on Nagarjuna, the great philosopher, Your Holiness was telling us that religion should be integrated with intelligence. Could you please give us a little more about how to integrate intelligence and religion?
There are some different religious traditions, different religion. I think theistic religion and also some non-theistic religion, I think very much emphasis about faith. Now, Buddhist teaching, Buddhism, Buddha himself, you see, told us or advised us, "Oh, my follower, bhikshus, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of thorough investigation and experiment. So therefore, Nagarjuna, in his writing, and his sort of student like Chanakyapuri, they rejected some Buddha's own sort of teaching. If you accept this teaching, then it goes against reason. Therefore, reason is more important. So we cannot accept literally that Buddha's teaching. So the emphasis on reason, not faith. So the scientific way of approach also investigate and use reason. So therefore, the scientific way of sort of the approach and Nalanda tradition quite similar. So I learned some useful information from scientists. So as I have more conviction about scientific finding, such as the existence, the shape of this planet round, and there is no Mount Meru, no place of Mount Meru, and the sun and moon, you see, sun very far, moon quite close, even human being can reach there. So these are obvious through investigation. When I was in Lhasa, the 13th Dalai Lama was possessions, one sort of big telescope. So I used that telescope during night, moon. I noticed there's mountain and also shade because of the early night because of that. Soon after the sun set, you see the shape of this mountain was east because the sun's light created that sort of perception, the shadow. So then, one occasion, I invited my two tutors, and I set up that sort of telescope. And then Rinpoche, as was Chanakyapuri, said, "Whoa, there's a real mountain, that mountain." So, you see, these are the factors. So the factor one had calculated and used through instrument or distance and calculation like that. So therefore, now great Nalanda master Basuvat, the younger brother of Rayasana, is writing the Karinga, the third chapter. He described about the world, about planet, about Mount Meru, measurement or size, all this he mentioned. This is no nonsense. So we have a right, you see, to accept the reality through scientific research, the reality very clear. And our own experience, when I fly from India to Europe, Europe to America, America to Hawaii, Hawaii to Japan, the round world, very clear. And the sun, 24 hours, if you go, still remain related with this world. So, Khas, Zabudirwa, Enclave, Shalom, Chandramini, Guru, Luparanju.
Sorry? I don't.
So four continents. So during night, the sun just exactly behind Mount Meru. So world here, Zabudirwa, because of shadow of the Mount Meru down. And then size of moon and sun is more or less same. Distance same. Distance. So sometimes I jokingly express, when the husband, when he wrote Abhidhamma Karika, naturally his age quite old, so his eyesight not very good. So he tried to look for moon and sun, and a cloudy day he checked the sun, size of the sun. So he found more or less same size. So so it is our liberty to reject these things. Because we, according to Buddha's own teaching, through experiment, through investigation, that finding is more authentic than just a scripture, because the scriptures like that. And fashion, yes.
Maybe from the audience.
Yes.
Pranam, Your Holiness. Is the human race that evolved that they can, seek the right path without the guidance of the spiritual teacher? You said that 15 Dalai Lama. So without the spiritual teacher, is it possible for the human race to evolve and find the right path?
I've already mentioned that there is no reincarnation of Buddha, Shakyamuni. His teaching is still there. So last 2,000, around 2,600 years, Buddha already dead, but his teaching is still there. Similarly, Nagarjuna. No Nagarjuna's reincarnation, no Nagarjuna's formal reincarnation or such institution, but his teaching very much alive. So, I think 11th century, from the period, 11th century, one great master of Kadamba, the main disciple of Atisha Dipankara, when he died, almost dying. So his head is put on one of his main disciples, Bodhava, great scholar, great practitioner, Bodhisattva. So then the Bodhava is tear, one drop of tear, fell on his head, and he looked at him. He looked, Bodhava, why you are crying? Then Bodhava stated, till now you are our Guru, so we can ask, we can receive teaching from you. Now you no longer, and how to do? And then he told, now on, his Guru should be text. So that's the right thing. Sometimes lamas not very reliable. So these books, I think, 1,000 years already tested by many practitioners, many scholars. So these texts are authentic. So this is really reliable. So without Lama, you can learn these things. You can practice accordingly. So no problem. If you too much emphasis Lama, then I think you should create Lamaism.
Holiness, there are some very important questions here. Can we take these two questions?
Yes, okay. Now time to go. But before leaving, I have to go toilet. I drink a lot, so that automatically.
Okay, your last question, Your Holiness. Sometimes in your life, have you ever wished to be an ordinary person and not the Dalai Lama?
When I was very young, in the winter time, some sort of retreat, with my teacher, the first teacher, Regent. So, at least I think 2 hours of retreat. Then sometimes I am boring. And my tutor also sleep. And then, you see, in the street, Podala, below there, there's some sort of young girls and boys. You see, they are daytime, they are animals, you see. So take the grace, about sunset, they turn, sing, sometimes.
Singing the Tibetan opera.
So then sometimes I feel, oh, I wish I should be one of them. But then gradually I realize there's a disposition, you see, can be useful to serve other people, to serve Dharma.
May I now request our spiritual director, Venerable Namazopa Rinpoche, to give the vote of thanks.
Yes, yes. Not very long. Should be short.
I prostrate from the depth of my heart on behalf of the 6 real sentient beings and the fortunate attendants who came here for the teachings through His Holiness, the embodiment of compassion Buddha. Our Lord Desvara, who is the sole object of refuge of us, all 6 realms, and originator of all our past, present, future happiness. Incomparable little, bring us from the oceans of samsara sufferings and bring us to peerless happiness, total cessation of obscuration and completion of realizations. For granting holy advice, teachings, like the nectar pacifying all the pains of the delusions, continued from beginningless samsara rebirth. His Holiness is Generosity Avalokitesvara, predicted by kind compassion Shakyamuni Buddha, says, in the future, Generosity will benefit extensively the sentient beings in the snowland Tibet, predicted to Bodhisattva Mingyutsum and Bodhisattva Tonga Töngyö, not only proved historically, but also proved by experience. In the past, one of the times when His Holiness was in Deer Park, in Medicine, America, at my teacher's Geshe Sopa Rinpoche Center. At that time, the center members had an interview with His Holiness. And one lady raised up and said, His Holiness says he does not have bodhicitta and realization of emptiness only, but has great faith and great interest. Then she said, then we are hopeless. Then, out of much compassion, His Holiness took the aspect and slipped out from the holy mouth. Oh, I remember I was one of the Bodhisattva with Buddha in India during those times. So we who come here to listen from His Holiness are most unbelievable fortunate. Difficult to understand how this happened. For each word of His Holiness teachings, if we offer skies filled with diamonds and witchcraft and jewels, cannot repay. Even up till we achieve enlightenment, still cannot repay the kindness. Please, His Holiness, grant the teaching at Tushita next Dharma celebration, and please guide all of us here after enlightenment. This Tushita Dharma celebration, receiving most precious teachings from His Holiness, also by the kindness of all the sponsors, all the members of Tushita, all the volunteers, all the organizing team, and the Sugar Hotel. And all these organization people able to collect cause of happiness, so much extensive merits by sponsoring and voluntary working. All this is by kindness. Professor Renuka Singh, Jawaharlal Nehru, she's the author of Tushita Mahayana Meditation Center, director, and due to her effort and devotion and compassion,